Go.
Hey everyone, I'm David Byers. Welcome to River Wild Wood Designs. I have an exciting project that I want to share with you today. I have this piece of red maple that came from my property, and as you can see, it has this rolled edge on both sides. This portion of the tree was open. It looked like it had been struck by lightning in the past, and so I took a piece similar to this. I've already taken it out to the bandsaw and cut this section out so that I can position it into this bucket like so. So this is what we're going to have as we pour the epoxy. And so with this, what I intend to do, where this is fitted against the bucket and then this is going to be open, I'm going to adapt in these open areas where I'm going to mix pure white and crystal ice white. I want it to look white, but I want it to be translucent as well so we can see through. And I'm going to use some CA glue to attach gold foil that I'm going to try to twist and glue at the bottom and glue at the top so it will stay in position as we pour the epoxy around it, and it will create a gold effect inside the epoxy. So I'm excited to get started with this one. Come on in, let's watch, let's get her done. The gold foil is extremely fragile. Using the CA glue to hold it in place was a bit of a challenge because the foil kept sticking to my fingers, but overall, everything worked out just as planned. I do believe we're going to need to add a little bit more right there. This mix needed 3 liters of deep cast resin, 2 liters of part A, 1 liter of part B. I blended in crystal ice white mica powder for the sparkle, along with pure white for the desired color that I was looking for. Once again, I want it to look white, but I want it to be translucent as well. I do power mix with my drill to make sure that everything incorporates. This just does a better job. I don't show all this in the video, but in general, I usually mix for about 3 minutes. I did add to a smaller container before pouring it into the bucket with the wood because once again, that gold foil is very fragile and I did not want things to shift. We add a weight to make sure that it doesn't float or that anything shifts. No vacuum chamber this time. I'm afraid the percolating effect pulling the air out of the wood is going to make the gold foil move, so we're going to go straight to the pressure pot. Let's get everything trued in and into perfect balance, and then I will share with you a decision that I had to make. Decisions. So here I am trimming up what was going to become the bottom of the bowl, which originally was going to be the top. But when it was sitting in the bucket, the wood was sticking up higher than the epoxy. And as I was cleaning it up, bringing it into balance, I realized I don't want to lose that height. So I'm going to flip it upside down. Here you can see I'm adding some plastic with some hot melt glue to hold things in position. As I'm going to come back and do another pour of epoxy, creating what's going to be the base of the bowl. I'm going to use art cast resin because it'll set faster. I still use crystal ice white for the sparkle, but I'm going to add black pearl to it this time because the base is going to look better if it's a little bit darker. Once we put this all together and then we turn it on the lathe, trim things up and sand it, you're not even going to see a junction line between the two different pours of epoxy. Alright, so let's get things trued in. Let's clean it up again. You're going to see I'm going to add another waste block on what's going to be the bottom of the bowl with the new base that was added. I'm going to flip things on the lathe 180 degrees and then make sure that it's trued in again. I'm going to take a core out of the middle of the bowl so we can have a smaller bowl because this is all going to be very pretty. And then continuing to watch, I'll go ahead and sand and finish things, and then I'm just going to let you watch for a while as I complete the rest of the process. I'm going to quit talking to you, and then we will come back for a conclusion at the very end and look at the final product. Okay, so let's close out this video. Adding the gold foil to the epoxy is something that I definitely want to continue playing with in the future. The final effect with this is something that I just like very, very much. As I was making the video, you guys saw that I added some black epoxy to solidify the footing on the larger bowl. And then we were able to obtain a core, taking the smaller bowl out of the middle of the larger bowl. And I do this whenever I can, because otherwise this smaller bowl would just be shavings on the floor, and this is just too pretty to allow that to happen. Let me share with you the dimensions for each bowl. The larger one measures 8 inches wide by 4.5 inches tall, and it is 7/8 of an inch thick. The smaller bowl measures 5.25 inches wide. It stands 1 5/8 inches tall, and it is 1/2 inch wide. And let me give you a backstory about how these came to be created. So I was doing a festival in Cashiers, North Carolina, and I met a gentleman named Dan. And I had created a bowl similar to this that was the first one that I had made, where I incorporated gold foil into the epoxy. And Dan purchased that bowl. Its name is the Golden Rule. And he liked it so much that he emailed back and forth with me about creating another bowl similar to that he could gift as a wedding gift for a wedding that's coming up here in later November. So we emailed back and forth, and it was fun because I think Dan could hear the excitement in my voice as I was making these, and I could hear the excitement in his voice in his email as we were emailing back and forth, because he knew that this was going to be a special gift that will be going to the bride and the groom. Let's share names. So the name of the larger bowl, to go along with the gold theme, is A Day to Treasure. And I included the date of the wedding on the bowl as well, along with the inscriptions. And the smaller bowl is just so precious. We named it Nugget, and I think that fits it perfectly. So my hope is that when the bride and groom receive the larger bowl, and the smaller bowl, by the way, Dan gets to keep for himself, but my hope is that the bride and groom, as they look at this bowl, they will love it, and that they will like and appreciate the artistry that went into creating the bowl. But even more importantly, I hope that they will recognize the thought and the care that Dan put into selecting a unique piece of art as a wedding gift for them. And I wish them much success with their future, much success with their marriage. And I just hope the bride and groom's very happy with this. When people come over to their home and they see this piece of art, it creates a conversation piece and opens communication and conversation. So it has been my pleasure making both of these bowls. I hope that you guys have enjoyed watching the video of the creation of these bowls. And I do hope that you will return in the future for more unique creations very similar to this in the near future. Thank you very much.